Welcome to Roll for Lore, the podcast for you if you think way too much about Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Sean,
And my name's Jessica.
and today we're going to discuss
Silvanus. Hit the theme!
Hit the Theme!
We did
That
it!
was our best, most
Oh
professional
my god.
intro ever.
It's because you made us take a breath before.
Yes.
Good calming exercise.
So, for the listeners, you may notice that I don't sound as great as I normally do. I had some microphone difficulties. Recording on a different microphone, aka the one built into my MacBook.
We gotta improvise because we gotta get that episode out to you.
Yes, this episode comes out tomorrow. We normally like to record ahead of time. But yes. Anyway, Silvanus.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about...
Okay. Oh, no. You cannot sneak. You gotta tell the listeners about your new escapades in Baldur's Gate. And you gotta tell me.
Oh, I've been playing Baldur's Gate. I was playing as a bard. Figured out I can't play as a glamour bard. That's in 8, and I'm not doing the patch 8 stress test. So I can't play as a glamour bard. So actually, the very last thing I did was actually just... I got this weird, like, mummy lord guy who hangs out in my camp. Who's got,
that
like,
guy.
What's that guy's name? He's got, like, gold jewelry all over his face, and he speaks in riddles.
Yeah.
He just let me change my class. So I'm a sorcerer now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I didn't do anything. Then I saved the game and left.
What?
Shadowheart died. I gotta bring her back to life. But it doesn't seem that pressing at the moment. I've blown my shot at romancing all the people.
How? What'd you do?
I found a second wriggly worm thing, and I let it go inside my eyeball. And
you let Volo?
No, I haven't. No, Volo's my friend so far.
Oh, never mind.
I just found... Well, I killed like a goblin that had one in it,
Yeah.
and then I was like, I'm gonna put that in me.
No, you haven't blown your shot, I promise.
Well, Karlach is mad at me.
She'll be mad a little bit.
I like it when she's mad.
We gotta talk about that later.
And I didn't really blow my shot at Shadowheart so much as Shadowheart blew her shot with me because she's just a whiny. I mean, she's got the whole goth girl aesthetic going on. Unfortunately, she also has the goth girl attitude. And I like the fake goth girls. I like the ones that are just in it for the aesthetic, not the one who's like, oh, I want to worship Shar. And also, all the statues in the Shar temples have bangs. Like, they have like a uniform haircut. Like, no, I love bangs. I just think it's funny that their cult has a standard issue haircut.
Bangs. I wonder my depictions of Shar in that episode. I didn't talk about their bangs.
They all, like, Shadowheart has the same haircut as these ancient statues.
I guess that means we have to redo that episode now that we have this knowledge.
Yeah, no, I see why you wanted to do Shar so fervently while you were so about Shar. This game is a lot about Shar.
Yeah.
I like this game. Volo's hanging out in my camp. I like him. I'm going to try to keep making him... I wonder if whatever he did to you, I don't know what he did to you that made you not like him, but I wonder if I can, like, have him be my friend and maybe not betray me the way he betrayed you.
Yeah, maybe that's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm excited about your new life as a sorcerer.
So far, I have not completed any missions.
No, what? You said you killed spiders.
They weren't part of a mission.
Oh, but did you kill the queen spider?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And I just, like, found them. I'm just trying to farm XP because I pissed off these goblins and I can't kill them. So I'm just, like, walking around the map, and I found a hag, and I can't kill the hag, but I killed all her minions. And now I'm like, well, that didn't level me up enough.
Did you find the Emerald Grove yet?
Oh, yeah, but I haven't freed the tieflings.
Well, guess who the Emerald Grove is dedicated to?
One of the gods?
Silvanus.
Yeah! Oh, that's... What a wonderful transition.
I know. I've been planning this for weeks. I'm becoming a professional. No, I'm really excited about this episode because I mixed up my format a little bit. So for me, feels less book reporty. Maybe the listeners don't feel that way, but I needed a little mix up. And Silvanus is the perfect opportunity because Silvanus not only exists in D&D lore, but it is a Roman god. So it's one of our first, like, crossover multiverse gods that we'll be covering.
Is Silvanus a like, what would you say, like a druidic god?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Silvanus is the god of wild, like the wild things, wildlife, nature, and we'll get a little bit into that. So yeah, I would say
What was that word that early Christians had for pagans? Is it a pagan god?
it is a so no, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit.
Could I at one point in history have been prosecuted for worshiping Silvanus? Because that'd be fun.
Maybe. I guess I don't know. I don't have the answer for that one. I'll
Okay.
have to return to you on that about religious persecution. But he is a Roman god, which is interesting because in D&D lore, he's part of the Celtic pantheon, which is a little bit confusing because they're not the same pantheons. I have a little bit of an explanation as to why that happened. But have you ever heard of Silvanus or like Silvanus in any sort of mythos?
I I've is the word Sylvan a derivative of Sylvanus?
Maybe. It's okay. So Silvanus, I do have a little bit of the etymology, but Silvanus means of the woods in Rome, like Roman in Latin.
Oh, so yeah, I think they're probably related.
Yeah.
And also, I think there's an electronics brand that is now defunct called Sylvanus, that like sold TVs at Best Buy
Oh, is
in
that true?
2001.
So you're like, yeah, I know a lot about
I know a
Silvanus.
lot about
I'm an
like I'm
expert.
pretty sure they sold toaster ovens. I don't know,
Yeah, but you didn't know.
home hi-fi.
You knew it was all about like nature and wildlife.
Well, only because of the Emerald Grove.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a
That's
big tip
fair.
off. And like also I don't like those druids. But then some other people told me to go kill everybody over there, and I was like, well, I don't like that either.
Because the
So
druids are kind of assholes
I don't
to
want
the
to
poor
kill the
tieflings.
druids. I
Yeah.
just I want to like I'm a tiefling. Karlak is a tiefling.
Hmm.
We're just you know BFF GFs,
Oh, yeah.
and
So you just want everyone to love each other, get
no,
along.
I just want the tieflings to be safe, and fuck the druids.
Okay,
They're annoying.
you'll have a lot
Every
of
time I try to
opportunities.
talk to them, they just chant. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to have a conversation. You guys have been casting this spell for like a month now. I'm gonna go.
I can tell it's not going well for you in that game.
You can't swim. You can't swim. They just like have puddles of water, and they're like, this is a boundary that you can't go to that other shore. And I'm like, there's a swim skill. I've got a good strength. I know how to swim. Look at Karlak.
You need to stream playing this just to me. I'll
Karlak
watch you.
has a swimmer's like broad shoulders. Tell me she can't do the breaststroke?
Oh, she can.
Come on.
Yes, absolutely. But Sylvanas,
Char would probably drown out of sorrow just because she doesn't have the will to
yeah, it's probably she'll see a
the
wolf.
way to
You're so
would hold
I
her
thought you were
down.
gonna be such a Char man, but you are not. Anyways, I'm redirecting this. I gotta redirect this because we got a lot to talk about.
Okay.
But Silvanus origin. So Silvanus is a Roman god, a deity. He's a deity of the woods and uncultivated lands. He's especially presided over things where trees are growing, so like plantations or orchards. He's really known as the god of like trees specifically. He's also described as a god watching over the fields of the husbandman and protecting in particular the boundaries of fields. So this is the Roman god, the Roman representation of Silvanus. He's other variations of him include Pan. So are you familiar with Pan?
Yes, it has a labyrinth.
Yes, yes, exactly. That labyrinth. But Pan is a Greco-Roman god. That's kind of a version of Silvanus. Is same with I think it's pronounced Sikelos in Germany. He's a German god. Silvanus in this mythology often appears as an old man, but he's always cheerful and in love with Pomona, who is the goddess of fruitful abundance and plenty. So he's like a jolly, happy
Green giant.
green giant. Yes,
Does he
essentially.
sell me green beans?
He
God,
probably.
I love green beans
I
so
actually, that
much.
sounds really good. That sounds really
Can I
good.
tell you something you're missing out on that you can't have?
Sure, I love
At
that.
barbecue restaurants, they have these green beans with bacon in them. Mm.
Wow, I'm so
Oh man, they're
glad.
my favorite thing.
Can't have bacon, but that sounds great. Anyways, there's a Celtic origin god of Silvanus.
Hey, I'm Celtic origin.
Cernunnos, he's the horn god found in that mythological pantheon. He's connected with particularly with male animals and particularly the stag in rut, which is important to know. No, but why that's relevant to Silvanus is the D&D depiction of Silvanus often has like this stag-like appearance. So it seems like the god in the D&D 5.5 is a little bit of a mixture of Silvanus from Greco-Roman or from Roman and Celtic origin, Cernunnos. So that's pretty interesting because none of the gods up till now had like a direct representation of them.
I like this god a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like him a lot.
Okay, you barely
So
know
I
him.
want to say for my Magic the Gathering fans out there,
Uh-oh.
I'm getting big Gruul vibes from this guy. So
Gruel. Who's
yeah,
Gruel?
well, all the different color combinations have a name.
Yeah.
There's 5 colors, so there's 10 color combinations. So red and green together are Gruul, and that's like green is like nature and nurturing and careful, consideration of the environment and animal
Oh,
husbandry,
yeah.
and red is like passion and like associated, and together they're associated with like reproduction and fertility. Anyway,
That's cool. Yeah.
and and also there's a god of magic whose name I cannot remember, who basically is also this god,
Okay, cool. So, and that makes sense
and he
because,
also has horns. He's like a giant satyr man.
yeah, yeah. So I think there's just like, it's kind of like the easy route to go with the god of nature, the god of the hunt. I'll have like the antlers, and there's a lot of man. Why do I struggle with that word? I have never in my life not been able to say the word. I can't say it.
Do you want to spell it?
Nope, I don't because I've already been roasted for this.
You weren't roasted.
No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. There's a lot of representations of this god out in different mythologies. So how the hell did he end up in D&D or in the world of Faerun? Well, have you ever heard of the Imiskar Empire?
No, I haven't.
So before we started recording this podcast, I went on a mini rant on how many damn mage fallen ancient civilizations are going to be out there in the D&D realms because this is another example of where mages just got a little too big for their britches and ended up ruining a civilization. So they're now this ancient.
This is my favorite thing in D&D.
It's your
This is
favorite?
my favorite thing.
Yeah. It's just like these fallen civilizations.
Like, I love it when there's a super powerful civilization, and through the hubris of magic users, it was decimated.
Yep.
And now there's just like awesome ruins to go
With
explore.
advanced technology, undiscovered.
And give
Yeah.
it to me. That's what I'm talking
Well,
about.
that's all. This is all for you then, because they're a legendary ancient civilization known for powerful magic and advanced technology. It existed long before many of the current civilizations in the game setting, and the Iskmari, which were the name of the people, were highly advanced in their use of magic, blah, 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 blah. We've all heard it before. The descendants of the Imiskar lived on in their lineage as the deep Imiskari, which is like a type of subspecies of human that's potentially could be a playable race if you have a homebrew. They made their home in the Underdark realm, and they just made their home in the Underdark realm. I was going to read a bunch of names of places that we've never talked about before that wouldn't be relevant to anyone, but they live in the Underdark. So these humans were pale and they had smooth skin that was soft despite its stone-like appearance. All of the images that I saw of them looked like Voldemort. So these people were all Voldemort. That's for you, Maddie G. Just think of that.
Oh yeah, he likes us to cast them.
We're gonna cast all these guys. Okay, so according to lore, this empire, back when it was booming, had a severe labor shortage. And to solve this issue, the artificers from this place, who were really skilled wizards and engineers, they opened portals to other worlds because this empire really, really specialized in realm travel. So they opened these portals to other worlds and they kidnapped a large number of people among the Celtic tribes specifically. These people were brought back to Faerun against their will, and they served as laborers to help sustain the empire's grandeur.
So the Irish people
Yeah.
of
I'm
Earth
sorry, Sean.
were enslaved
Yes.
by Voldemort people.
Yeah. Well, they were Voldemort people at that time,
Okay.
but They were like beautiful, I bet like looked like high fae. I mean, it's essentially
They
Court of Thorn
probably
and
look like
Roses.
British. This is British favorite pastimes, oppressing the Irish.
Oh my gosh, this is particularly personal to Sean. Sorry about that. But yeah, they were enslaved. When the empire fell, these people were still around and they carried on their traditions and um, their worship. And
Oh,
that,
oh, oh, can this also be how bards came to
yeah, fuck yeah, we're lore
this?
masters. Yes,
Yes,
this is the
introduced.
origin of bards. But yeah, so they brought over their gods with them. So Silvanus was essentially kidnapped and brought into Faerun's pantheons.
This I love story time with Jess.
Yeah, so this is kind of like this is fun. This is what I meant by I'm mixing it up a little bit. Like now we're getting some gods with some deeper history, and I saved the
Though,
juicy ones.
though for Maddie G's benefit, we do need to cast
We
Sylvanas.
haven't gotten. We're getting there because
Okay.
that was I've
Too
just talked
early?
about. Well, yeah, because so I've just talked about the Earth's representation of this god. Now we're going to talk about D&D's representation because there's a little bit of differences.
This is my favorite episode so far.
Okay, good. I'm glad. So, like I said, that empire, just to wrap that up, they fell after a series of revolts led by the enslaved people, including these earthborn, poor Celtic people that were stolen from their homelands.
That part's unbelievable.
And but they brought, so Silvanus helped them overthrow this empire. So they just had the power of a god. And it makes sense because this god was stolen to the D&D world, so he's no longer on Earth.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
No,
cool.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. I just fucking made that up. That's not real.
Oh,
That's not real. But maybe it can be now. TM. So general. So we're talking about Silvanus for the D&D realms. This Silvanus is the Faerunian power of wild nature. He stands directly in contrast with our girl Shantia that we keep talking about because she's more about the ordered agriculture and nature side of like growing crops and like bountiness. Um, Sylvanus wants nothing to do with that. Sylvanus is all about wild nature. He doesn't give a shit about civilization or mankind. He's all about the bounty and the trees and all that. In fifth edition, specifically his statistics, he's a neutral god, like purely neutral. His symbol's an oak leaf, and his portfolio is all about wild nature, speak with animals, all that stuff. His domains are nature, and channel divinity is charm animals and plants. His personality is described as being a wild and unpredictable god. So he's much like nature itself. Like nature is not about order. Nature is about unpredictability. He cared greatly for maintaining a balance between growth and decay, water and drought, fire and ice, like the natural cycle of life. But when it came to the balance of like civilization and the wild, he did not care about that. He would be happy if he believes actually that the wild will someday overtake civilization because civilization can never withstand against the powers of the wild. So his primary concern is wilderness and his followers, and he's really really loyal to his followers because his followers dedicate their lives to maintaining the wild. Some people would describe him, Faerunian people, not us, well, that he is in reality he values all life, and that's why he kind of vouches for wilderness. So yeah, that's him.
he sounds like Poison Ivy.
Oh, is Poison Ivy like that?
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Batman the animated series.
Yeah.
Not so much that Poison Ivy, but I've also been watching Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy.
Okay.
I've been engaged in a lot of lesbian media lately.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, the Poison Ivy and Harley and Ivy is very much like that.
I didn't know that.
She just wants to return Earth to a prehistoric jungle.
Yeah.
She doesn't really, and like her and Harley are at odds because Harley just wants to punch cops in the
I
dick.
love that. So that's perfect. Okay, that's a good like example of Sylvanus representation.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
like Ivy's not inherently evil. She just wants plants to rule.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And the same with Sylvanus. Like his titles are the Oak Father, the Old Oak, and the Forest Father, Tree Father. So this dad, he's the daddy of
He's the
trees.
tree daddy.
He's the tree daddy.
Sure.
So this is the fun part. Now we're going to talk about his forms. This guy has 3 forms. I love his
Okay.
forms. First one is Old Father. Got to have the old daddy. He's an old bearded man, human male face. He can float midair among trees or he can sprout from the trunk of a large old tree. His skin resembles old wood with brown and gray and fissured texture. So maybe not the jolly green giant, but definitely kind of like an ent. Okay, yeah. Well, no. Okay, so I mean, yeah, he's probably an attractive old father. But then his second aspect is the young strider. Oh, and the
Oh,
young strider, he's a young, long-lived humanoid male with notably long legs. I must be notable because I said it twice in the sentence. He wears a suit of armor made of leaves and wields a wooden mallet. Actually, all forms. They prefer mallets or hammers as their weapon, which is interesting because I would have thought staff.
or a shillelagh.
Oh, what's a shillelagh?
It's an Irish stick.
Yeah, of course he does. I need to look that up. That's a really cool word.
You never heard of a shillelagh?
It rings a bell.
It's like
I
a
have been to Ireland.
yeah, you've been there. You've seen old men walking around. It's like a cane
So,
made with a knob on the
it's
end.
so funny you say it, old men walking around. I was walking around Cork and taking pictures of like the walls because they were really pretty and a lot of moss on them. And this old man came up to me. I could not understand this guy. His accent was so thick. And he's like, "What's so great about this wall that you keep taking pictures of it?" And like engaged in this long conversation and then asked me about Trump because that was during Trump's first election. Like he had just been
Yeah.
elected and was like, "Well, I think he has this doomsday button that he's just holding his finger." It was just a wild exchange. And I had to share that.
Did he have a shillelagh?
Yes, probably.
Shillelagh is also a spell in D&D that I believe druids get that turns any stick into a +1
No
weapon.
shit. That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you can just pick a stick off the ground and make it a +1.
This is why I like our dynamic because I am happily surprised every time we have an episode about the correlations you make through your knowledge of this game. That's really cool.
Well, you do it for 20 years, you're bound to remember one thing.
You're such a fucking nerd. Okay, so this guy, yeah, he's wearing a cool suit of armor made of leaves. Doesn't seem practical, but he's a god. That's not a word. He typically appears when a sacred grove is under threat or a circle of druids is attacked. So this guy is more of like the action-oriented, like team band member version of Silvanus.
All right.
Okay.
I'm just trying to focus on who we're going to cast, but we still have one more form to cover.
We have one more. And this one's going to be hard for you to cast because this one is the Horned Hunter. He resembles this Celtic god Cernunnos. It features burning white eyes and stag antlers, and he's covered in shaggy brown fur that is almost spark-like, and then appears silently among the trees. So this aspect of him, or this representation of him, can't speak. He usually just gestures before vanishing. Like he's like an ominous, like
That one's easy to cast.
yeah, deer.
Gerard Butler.
Oh, okay, yep.
Let's see Gerard Butler.
You're
I think
good at this.
he'd
Yep.
be great in a movie where he doesn't have to talk but just looks cool. A Gerard Butler with horns, that's pretty hot.
I know I can't handle how hot that is.
That's pretty
My
hot.
fiance listens to this podcast, and you always bring up my favorite celebrities.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so there's that guy. What about Young Strider? Who's Young Strider?
Young Strider is Kylo Ren. No, I'm joking.
Stop! It's stacked cast.
I don't know because I can't think of any celebrities that have long legs other than Conan O'Brien.
Please,
And it's definitely not Conan.
Please,
No, Conan is not young, but he strides. He's a strider.
I promise our Patreon viewers, listeners. By the way, this is where we're going to plug our Patreon, y'all. We have a really cool Patreon.
Yeah, we're gonna play after we're done recording this today. We're gonna go play Dungeons and Dragons with our Patreon members.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. It's probably why I'm a little silly and.
Oh, cool. Can we also plug the book giveaway?
Yeah, let's plug that too. Yeah, let's do it right now.
We're giving away a book, and go onto our Instagram or TikTok. Find any post that has me holding up the book talking about it or one of the new clips of the podcast and tag somebody in it. So far, getting some pretty good traction on this on TikTok, not really on Instagram.
Yeah, come show up
So,
for
like,
us,
yeah,
Instagram.
we need you.
Because I like Instagram more.
So the idea is you tag somebody and then they like it and they watch the clip and they're like, oh snap, I'll go listen to the podcast. See,
Yeah.
word of mouth. Let's go.
Yeah, we're just trying to get ourselves out there a little bit. But the reason I brought that up is I promised to our Patreon members and that I will mid-journey Conan O'Brien as Silvanus.
Yes,
Young Strider. And I will put it up there just for all of ours enjoyment.
in his leaf suit.
In his sleep suit.
Conan does wear suits.
I love young Strider as
But
Conan.
the book that we're giving away is the Worlds and Realms lore book. It's got lore on all the
Yeah, yep.
D&D worlds. You're going to love it. It's signed by the author. I contacted the author. I paid him money. He sent me the book. It's on my desk. I'm going to send it to
I'm trying to
you
steal it.
just because not allowed to steal it.
Okay.
I'll buy her own copy for her birthday. If she follows through on the Conan.
I will follow through on it. I will follow through. I'm almost done with this move, guys, and my life will be a lot more sane. Old Father, go. Who's Old Father?
Danny DeVito.
Perfect. This is my favorite movie in the damn world. So possessions. In his young Strider form, he's typically dressed at, like I said, in leaves of armor. It's a +5 suit of leaves armor, just so you know. But that offers protection equivalent to plate mail, according to yep. Some described him wearing a set of scale armors, but those scales were all in the shape of oak leaves, which is pretty cool. And then this form, he was also seen to be wielding a mallet. This mallet was named the Great Mallet of Silvanus. Pretty appropriate, right?
Yes.
That's pretty right on. Well, okay, so we talked all about like what he looks like, what his personality's like.
Gulf of America.
Good old Gulf of America. What has happened? Portfolio. So what can this guy do? Well, he can control all animals and forest and creatures and plants using his voice.
Hell yes.
So it's pretty OP. He's capable of manipulating plant growth or shrinkage at will, specifically shrinkage.
Shrink an enlarged person so I can have a big Karlach.
Oh my God, you can.
That's
and you can fit little holes.
No. I know. I want to fit in the holes.
Okay.
I want to fit in the holes. There are so many holes I can't fit in.
Okay. Yes.
I just want Karlach to be huge, and I want to fit in little holes. That's all I want. This game is so hard.
I'm sorry, listeners. What have I done? Okay. So
I'm just talking about Baldur's Gate.
I bet. And your love for Karlach.
Yeah. She's passionate.
You know, I even led her. I led her on a lot too. I went right up to the point of no return with her, and I was like, "JK, I'm taking Asterion."
I'm going to marry Karlach.
Okay. You'll marry.
I don't even know who Asterion is. Is that the vampire guy? Okay, he did bite me. That was kind of hot.
Yeah, kind of hot. So this guy, in both of his forms, well, all three, but usually just says both because he appears with the other two the most. He can cast spells from any sphere of School of Magic. He has different abilities depending on form, though, a little bit. So in the Old Father form, he's most like everything, right? Animal, plant, weather. He can create animals. He can create plants. He can do all this shit. In the Young Strider form, he can specifically do weather a little bit better. Not sure why, but that's what it says. Spells within the weather sphere are enhanced to triple their normal effect as Young Strider form.
That's not a little bit better. That's like a lot better.
I wonder, and I guess I didn't really dive into it. I wonder why Young Strider specifically is more weather. Maybe it's because he's like the more brash and unpredictable version.
I wonder if he ever gets into storm fights with Talos.
I bet he does, because that's one of his least favorite. Of course, yeah. So he often summons treants to aid him, which I love, and so I'm very excited about that fact. That's one of his powers. And he has some additional aspects. So it was interesting because in the Forgotten Realms wiki, it listed these aspects. They have very complicated names. I'm just going to read them really quick, tear that band-aid off, so to speak. Earmeter, Otham, Shabrathan, and Talotrathan.
Nice. Those all sound great.
So these names, I looked them up and I couldn't find any, like if they're his aspects, I couldn't figure out what that meant. Like there was no information on those as different gods. So ChatGPT, when I asked them like, what the fuck's up with this? They said these names likely represent different cultural interpretations or manifestations of Silvanus. So I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about all the realms and D&D lore to understand where those gods are significant.
What was the first one again?
And this one sounds familiar too. Earmeter, Irider.
That sounds very familiar.
It does, I know. I couldn't find any information on it. But he also likes to manifest as animals, obviously. His favorite animals are badgers and deer. Deer makes sense to me. Badgers I thought was cool. I love badgers. I think they're cool.
Yeah, badgers are rad.
I read too much Redwall as a kid, and I'm like really into badgers and otters. Like in stoats, you know, I was really thinking about why the fuck do I like these rodents? Yeah, too much Redwall.
Redwall is so good. They recently came out with a magic set that's just a straight knockoff of Redwall
Nuh-uh.
called Bloomborough, where all the characters got turned into adorable animals.
I need that. I don't even play Magic
And
and I
my
want it.
favorite sorcerer is he is like he's homosexual and he is an otter and he became an otter
Oh,
and he's like doing magic in the river. It's so
I
cute.
just on Planet Zoo, I bought an expansion pack that's specifically little rodents so I can anyways.
My daughter's gonna love Planet Zoo, but you've bought so many expansion packs. I'm not gonna show her.
Don't. There's a lot you can get. Um, so Silvanus also likes to appear as monsters. He likes appearing as brownies or dryads. He likes pixies. Um,
Dryads make sense. Dryads are sexy. I like dryads.
um, sprites, trance, and unicorns.
Hell yes.
And
All good choices, my dude.
this was the first guy that I saw this on. I thought it was interesting. Miscellaneous signs that he may be near or sending you a sign.
I like this section.
I like this section too. So his sign is the oak leaf. So that's typically what you would see. Specifically, if you see an oak leaf blown out of nowhere or a fire quenching eerie green glow accompanied by the sounds of faint whistling. Sylvanas is trying to get a hold of you. So
It sounds a lot like Aaron O'Neill. That's a
also
reference for all my
the
Dungeons and
sound
Daddies
of
fans.
wind or running or dripping water out of context, like when you're like not around those things, could also represent. But to me, that's like super vague because there are a lot of gods of water and wind and shit like that. So I
This
wouldn't
is my
trust that
favorite
one.
god so
I
far.
wouldn't trust that
He's
one.
so much powerful than Helm.
Allies, or no, we're not getting to allies and foes yet because we have to talk about the divine realms.
Divine Realms is my favorite part.
Okay.
Can we talk? Okay, for those of you just joining us, Hound Archons are cool. Currently, the coolest Denzians of planes.
Yeah.
Can we outdo Hound Archons?
No.
No, we're not going to beat sexy dogmen.
No, not this time, but I think the next episode we might. But here we're not because everything in his divine realm is nature. So there's not really there's no denizens there that live that are human or humanoid. It's all just,
Not even dryads.
I mean, dryads live there, but I mean, dryads are dryads.
I mean, the art in the 3.5 monster manual for dryads is permanently embezzled. That's not the word. Embedded in my mind.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one who can't use my tongue today.
That it is a sexy tree lady. I like that art.
Witcher 1. I just like walk into this druid grove. There's a damn dryad full on naked. Like you see all of her. And I called Jordan over and I was like, man, games really have become kind of like pussies about like representing nudity. Because this is like an older game, and she's just like full on tits out, vagina out, butt out, walking around.
My mom listens to this podcast, and I just told her I bought the Witcher game.
Okay, well, she knows that you're going to see that at some
Well,
point in the game.
I like already have. She knows that I watch The Witcher, which already has like real naked women.
Your mom sounds so cool. I guarantee she's just fully aware that you do a lot of things she doesn't want to know about or think about.
Okay, fair point. But yeah, I just bought the Witcher games. I don't know when I'm going to play them, but they were on sale. Yeah. What do you mean games don't show that anymore? In Baldur's Gate, you pick out your genitalia.
No, okay, I guess I said that. You
I
do
was
okay,
so
the character
the
creation.
first time I built a character in Baldur's Gate, I was like, oh, I want my hair to look like this. I want my eyes to look like that. Oh my, am I circumcised? What is this?
You're
game?
right. Okay, so character creation has become a lot more like just like no bar, has no rating, do whatever you want, genitalia out and whatever. But I feel like in games, and I play a lot of games with cutscenes, like those nudity scenes are like really strictly only appearing in the cutscene. Like they're not walking NPCs around that you could zoom your camera in and like just get really close to.
Well, I'm really excited to play The Witcher.
There's no details
Anyway,
though, because
but the dryad picture in the 3.5 monster manual is a sexy tree lady.
Okay, well,
and I like
what if
sexy
it was
tree ladies.
Silvanus?
My favorite thing about sexy tree ladies is they can't get away.
No, you can't say that. You're wrong.
Oh, okay. That was too far. That we found the line. I was just gonna say if you pull up a rock next to him and you want to talk to him about D&D lore all day,
Oh,
they're
okay.
stuck with that. That's all.
So I'm the one with the head that's messed up.
We talked about this for too
We
long.
have. We've gone too long about this in our okay. Divine realms. Throughout the cosmologies, he has different divine realms. They're pretty similar. But World Axis cosmology, and just as a reminder, that was like fourth edition. His divine realm was in the deep wilds. Have you heard of the deep wilds before?
No, I have not.
So it's located within the Outlands, which is the central plane connecting to many other planes' existence in D&D lore. So it's oftentimes that place acts as a gateway, which obviously Silvanus would be really happy about because people are appearing in his wilds. So it's strategic though because of this positioning, because it has geographic and spiritual connections with the cosmic balance, which is really important to Silvanus. Here are some of the creatures that it's home to, both mundane and magical. We've got gods. So Maliki, Oril, Malar, and Umberlee. We've talked a little bit about Umberlee and Malar, I believe. They live there. And Sylvanus is kind of the king of them in that cosmology. Great Wheel cosmology, which is this current edition. The name of this place is different, but it's like the same idea. It's called Tir na Og. It's a vast and beautiful realm located in the Outlands, and it's one of the largest shared realms. So same thing. It's like really centralized, and it is it hosts the divine realms of Silvanus, and then Ogma. Do you know who Ogma is?
No.
This was a new god to me too, and I'm pretty positive I'm doing the next episode on Ogma. Ogma is the goddess of inspiration, invention, and knowledge, and the patron of the bards.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So she shares this space with Silvanus, which I thought was really interesting. Of all the gods, Silvanus shares the space with the goddess of inspiration because for somebody who's an artist, I find a lot of inspiration in nature. So I don't know. I made those connections myself,
Yeah.
but they could exist.
And bards are a Celtic tradition.
It's all comes full circle. It's like they did research or some shit when they came up with this. um, so this realm features expansive meadows and oak groves, and it's dotted with ancient magical structures like obelisks and cairns and circles of standing stones.
I love some standing stones.
Yep.
I've been a
Um,
standing stone fan since way back.
so here is where you're going to be so excited because there's like a huge intersection of The Witcher and cool creatures that live in other planes and Sylvanas. So violations of the realm. So, like I said, that happens a lot because people are coming in and out of this realm on accident because it's kind of the hub. Um, Anybody who violates the realm's principles, which is just like respect of nature and embracing wildness, will trigger the unleashing of the wild hunt against transgressors. So, the wild hunt. Have you ever heard of the wild hunt?
I know that that is the subtitle of The Witcher 3.
Yes, and it has Celtic origin from European folklore as well. It's a spectral group of hunters that pursue any like cursed or unnatural quarry or somebody who's violating the space. They roam the sky or through the forest on like horses, so they're kind of like this
Oh
ghostly
yeah, they totally
progression.
they come for Siri at the end of season 3.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, exactly. That's the wild hunt.
The kind of like apocalyptic horsemen a little bit.
Yeah. So that's kind of what they are like in European folklore and Celtic and Germanic myths. But in D&D, they typically manifest as a group of ghostly fae riders led by a powerful entity. And in this representation, it would be Silvanus. And these entities that can draw upon them are often associated with nature. They pursue transgressors, striking fear and melting. That's a fun typo. They strike fear for their pursuit of supernatural justice, and then they're often depicted with ethereal weapons or ethereal. I always fuck that one up. Ethereal weapons and mounts that possess incredible speed and obviously can fly, so that's a big plus. So that's Tir na Og. The realm specific to Silvanus within Tir na Og is called the Deep Forest, and it's like I said, exactly what I talked about before with the deep wilds. Lots of big trees, thick vegetation, anything a nature god could call home or love. allies and foes. We already talked about Talos a little bit. Silvanus hates Talos. Everyone hates Talos. Talos hates everybody. Silvanus pretty much has beef with all the typical like evil gods, Shar, all yeah, you know them. The ones that he particularly are allied with, though, and one he has a very interesting little backstory with. First one being Eldith, who's the goddess of peace and quiet groves, kind of views Sylvanas as a father figure. There was actually kind of a D&D rumor that she was the daughter of Sylvanas, and Sylvanas had mated with the elven queen of beauty to make her, but no, he's just more like a father figure. Sylvanas is too cool for mates. Maliki, we've talked about her a little bit. She's the goddess of forest. She's more the goddess, I would say, of like rangers and dryads and autumn, the season of autumn. So she is really close to Sylvanas. She actually crafted the Banish Blight spell for to give as a gift to Sylvanas. So that spell exists because of her. So with that spell, you can wither any withered plant can become green, and um, even in the coldest part of winter and stuff like that. So it's a pretty cool spell. Okay. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
very
like
much true. Okay.
a spell? Come on.
I know. No one's ever given me a spell. I'll work on it for you, Sean. I'll give you a spell and then you can figure out how to give me one. What would you get? What spell would you want?
I don't know. Like just presentation.
Fuck yeah.
It's the best spell ever.
I'm not like a big animal girl, but speak with animals would be so useful.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I could tell my dog to shut the fuck
Your
up.
dog your dog already knows what you're saying. Your dog.
I know. I have a mini Aussie for any of you who share the pain that I do. I love her to death, but she's the worst. Last.
If you tattoo him, this is how you're going to change. It would go from bark, bark, bark to hey, sup, hey,
You're right. That would be worse.
yeah.
I couldn't tune that out. Feed me, feed me, feed me. Last but not least, Sheala, who's the goddess of fertility, growth, and wild nature. She serves alongside Silvanus with a focus on the fertility side of nature as opposed to the wildness of nature. Church and clergy. There's nothing really. Oh, go ahead. You looked like you're about to say something.
No, oh,
Darn it, I put you on the spot. Okay, church and clergy. Followers of Silvanus are mostly druids and clerics. Obviously, druids being the most prominent due to its focus on wild nature. But this also includes some barbarians.
I love it.
Some Bavarians. Barbarians, hermits, wilderness dwellers, and rangers.
Love a good.
So clergy of the goddesses Maliki and Eldith often work also under the clergy of Silvanus to help towards common goals. And actually, clergy of Silvanus have more authority and have more authority over the clergy of Maliki and Eldith, which is pretty interesting to me. So their clergy of all of them are instructed to support, protect, and obey the laws of nature and help spread nature above all else. Their conservation is just like their main goal and the main goal of Silvanus. So their clergy is asked to engage with planting new plants, combating new diseases, opposing followers of Malar particularly because of that, and they're often represented. Yeah. So sorry, I'll just skip that part. But yeah, so he really focuses on protecting wilderness. Uncommon worship. So this was kind of fun. Halfling druids actually have their own god of wildness. They actually have their whole own pantheon. It's called the Yundala's Children is their pantheon. But some halfling druids will revere Silvanus and over their own pantheon's deity. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this other deity because I'll probably never come across her again. But her name is Shiala. I swear this is happening on purpose. These names get harder and harder. Sheila Periroyal. Okay. She is the goddess of nature, agriculture, and weather in the Yondala's children pantheon. Yondala is their lead god in that pantheon, and she is everyone underneath that are either her literal children or figurative extensions of her will. So maybe someday we'll cover the halfling pantheon in its entirety.
Yeah.
Just quickly, going through the rest of this, they've got some holiday things that they do. Greengrass, Midsummer, and High Harvest Tide are the main nature-related holidays in Faerun. During all of this, followers of Silvanus celebrate by breaking or burying items of wood. This act acknowledges like the life cycle of life and death, and he's particularly the god of trees. By burying it, they're returning it to nature, so it's symbolic to him, and I guess he likes it, makes him happy. So yeah, that's pretty much everything about Silvanus that I have based on actually what's in D&D, like canon D&D lore. I kind of want to end these episodes, and I know we're already coming up on the hour, but I want to kind of talk more about how you can use Sylvanas in your campaigns and like use it as a main focus in some of this. Um, so how do you think, as somebody who's DM before, Sean, how do you think you could use Sylvanas in one of your campaigns?
Well, one, if I have a druid in the party,
Yeah.
they're going to put up Silvanus one way or
Yeah.
another. I think I would definitely love it if I put like a nice long campaign on actually do this little quest for me.
I like that. So other than a druid, do you think, and cleric, give me a class that would pop, like just name one class.
Ooh, I would love a fighter,
Okay, fighter.
and I'll tell you the background,
Hmm.
right? Of one of the new backgrounds. I would do a farmer who, or like a sustenance farmer. You know, Sylvanas more about. Okay, scratch that. Hermit background. So with the hermit background, so maybe wizards are always good hermits. Rogues, which we're going to talk about in next week's episode, also
Yeah.
good hermits. Rangers, hermits, somebody who have been living in the woods, living off nature. They've been eating mushrooms and potatoes that they found in the wild, and they just were like simpatico was honest. They just are all about neutrality. Rogues are like a neutral class,
Yes.
and so
Yeah.
yeah, now you're like now you're a rogue not because you sneak attack to like slit throats in the alleys, but because you sneak attack to like
Because you're
kill
like a
wild
scout.
boar.
Or yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I love that. Okay, that's perfect because I wrote like as a dungeon master, focus on wild nature over civilizations, like kind of this anarchist mentality because they're not good or bad. It's neutral. It's about just letting things happen. Um, if you are creating a player that you want to have some sort of connection with Sylvanas, you can choose classes like you mentioned, other than just the druid or the cleric to kind of associate with. So some of these good ideas, and I do want to give credit to a lot of these I got from Legend Lore, a YouTuber. They kind of helped they homebrew and they actually illustrate the god as they're talking about it. It's really really interesting. But some of his ideas were like, so for bards, a glamour bard is perfect for the aspect of Sylvanas, that's that like wild fae boy. Like you could kind of play with that and have some connection to nature. Or with warlocks, the great old one pact, apparently, that you can get, you could have that pact and do it with Sylvanas and tie that into your
yeah.
map.
College girl trying to sign like a petition for saving pandas or something.
I love that. Yep.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Yeah, I like that. The I really liked the for barbarians. I because I was like, okay, how is it going to tie in those more like melee heavy classes? He mentioned that you can use or tie in the fact that when you call your beast, when you call upon your animal aspect or like your rage
mhm.
aspect, have it come from Sylvanas, like it's the rage of
Yeah.
Sylvanas. So
Oh, that's awesome. And barbarians totally function with respecting nature.
yeah,
Like they, and especially historically, bar the barbarian is are Celtic people. Like I think specifically Scottish, but it's
yeah,
Celtic people.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
because barbarian, if I'm wrong, when Rome conquered like England, they were put up a wall, Hayden's wall,
okay.
and they were like, the Roman Empire is, we're not going any further
Yeah.
north of here. And that line that is Scotland.
Okay.
And those, and they were like, those Scottish people were not like advanced Romans, so they were like, those are the barbarians,
Okay. Yeah.
right? Isn't that true? And that's what the wall in Fire and
You
Ice. based off of.
Oh, okay. That
Like that's
yeah.
how the story goes. 14-year-old
I
dream.
didn't know any of this. This is fascinating.
Anyway,
That's really cool.
welcome to Storytime with Sean.
Storytime with Sean is now my favorite time. Um, well, shit. I think all I have left are just some boring old items that you can use that are related to Silvanus. Do you want to hear about them?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
um,
love
if you see our notes on Patreon, I do have a pretty more extensive list than what I'm going to go over right now, but some examples of items that you could use are staff of flowers. So you look so happy. What? Yeah, the staff of is a simple common magic item. It's found in Xanthar, or how do you say that? Xanathar's Guide to Everything. It is a staff, and there's some properties that are really interesting that you can look at yourself. I'm not gonna go through. It makes flowers. No, so but you do. You cause a flower to sprout from a patch of earth or soil within 5 feet of you. So really useful. Really good for you. It's good for building a character story. I hope I get to DM sometime. I'm gonna make it so you only have that weapon. Um, Ring of Animal Influence. This one's badass. It's found in the Dungeon Master's Guide, and it offers various ways to influence animals. It's a ring that has 3 charges, and while wearing the ring, you can use an action to cast one of the following spells: Animal Friendship, Fear, or Speak with Animals. So that's pretty cool. Staff of the Woodlands. So this is an iconic item for druids found in the DMG. It requires attunement. It's rare, and so while holding the staff, you can use an action to expend some of its charges to cast one of the following spells: Animal Friendship, 2 charges; Awaken, 5 charges; Barkskin, 2 charges; Locate Animal or Plants, 2 charges; Speak with Animals. So you can do a whole shitload of stuff with that staff. And this passive ability, it works as a quarterstaff, and the staff has another passive ability that allows you to turn the staff into a tree. Holy shit, I didn't read that before. That'd be so cool. Well, that makes sense why it's very much in line with Sylvanas. What a good idea. Just a tree through their face. That's so good. Legend Lore had created a mallet. He called it the Strider's Mallet. It would be Sylvanus's weapon. I thought it was really interesting that he kind of came up with that. You can look it up on your own or look it up on our Patreon by becoming a member, and where we post our notes sometimes. Well, I mean, no one's looking at them, but maybe you might want to start looking at them. I'm going to hide Easter eggs inside my notes, and if you can find them, we'll send you a sticker or something. Try to win the book. Yes. But that's it. That's Sylvanus. What'd you think? How'd you like it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
So this is my favorite so far. My favorite episodes. Of but yeah,
we made it awkward. I would say that we never cut anything out. Oh, okay. Well, so we better stop talking about, because now you have to cut this out. If you want, let me just talk about a naked green woman on Witcher. Anyways, thank you for rolling with us.
Thanks for rolling with us. Hit the boom.
Oh my gosh, I'm so close. My hair's all. I look disheveled. That's fine. Well, do we want? No, but I do think we should.
Let's export multi-track in time. This takes a few minutes. Sylvanus sticks down. We'll call it